सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च। हर्ष प्रकर्षस्यायं विषयः यदत्रास्मिन् अखिल भारतीय प्राच्य विद्या सम्मेलनस्य शताब्द महोत्सवे सहभागी भवितुं सबहुमानम् आमन्त्रितास्मि। कविकुलगुरु कालिदास विश्वविद्यालयस्य कुलपति महोदयेभ्यः, श्रीमद्भ्यः श्रीनिवास वार्खेडी महोदयेभ्यः तेभ्यः साधुवादान् अपि च अत्र अस्याम् अभिरूपभूयिष्ठायां परिषदि समुपस्थितेभ्यः तत्तच्छास्त्रेषु कृतभूरिश्रमेभ्यः विद्वद्भ्यः प्रणामाञ्जलिं समर्प्य स्वीयं वक्तव्यम् आरभे। I was asked to present a study of the research in the last century because this is the centenary celebration of All India Oriental Conference. So what research has been done in Indology in the past 100 years and what prospects for future? Obviously, I am not capable of nor prepared for presenting a survey of the researches in all the branches of Indology. Nobody can do that in such a short time. So we have to be selective. And for me, as for all other scholars, Sanskrit is just a source language. But there are various disciplines embedded and stocked in Sanskrit, and out of those disciplines, philosophy, Indian philosophy has been my discipline. I am a student of Indian philosophy, and that too, one of the schools of Indian philosophy, that is Vaisheshika system, on which I have been working for the past 4 decades. So due to the paucity of time, I would like to present the researches in the field of Vaisheshika system for the past 100 years by Indian as well as Western scholars. And also I would like to give a few suggestions for the future trends or prospects in this stream of Indian philosophical tradition. If we say Vaisheshika studies in retrospect and prospect, that can be applicable to all the branches of Indian philosophy, but respective scholars will be throwing light on that. But there are some features which are common in all the systems. Because we have studied Indian philosophy, we have been trained in the schools of Indian philosophical tradition to read like this. There are 2 types of schools, orthodox and heterodox. Then there are 6 systems of Indian philosophy, Shad Darshana. So there are some common features about which I will not be talking in a historical or chronological manner, but in the manner of their trends. And these trends I would like to present to you in a nutshell in the following 7 phases. The first phase has been textual, as we all know. All the systems of Indian philosophy, they started from the sutras, and these sutras were redacted by the so-called rishis, maharshis. All the sutras, Brahma Sutra, Mimamsa Sutra, Sankhya Sutra, Vaisheshika Sutra, Nyaya Sutra, etc. So I would like to call this a creative phase or a productive phase when the systems were started. The theories were propounded and they were presented in the brief aphorisms. So this was the creative phase. Then came the interpretative phase, that is the Bhashya, Tika, Upatika, etc. We have a whole corpus of literature in Sanskrit about these. Each system of school has such a rich stock of literature that it is really impossible to present even a bibliography. So the second phase was interpretative phase. Then came the transcreative phase, that is the age of or the trend of, because if I classify them in an age or in a historical way, it is not possible. There will be examples where some sutras were written in the later phase, some sutras in the earlier phase. Similarly, some commentaries were written in ancient times and some commentaries are being written in 20th century as well. So I would rather call them the phase. Interpretative phase includes the bhashyas, the tikas, the upatikas, etc., of which we have plenty of them. Fourth phase comes of the third phase, transcreative phase, that is of the prakarana granthas. When sutra and bhashya study was not in vogue or the teachers were not available, the students were not interested. I am not going into the reasons. There may be various reasons, but then came the shortcut method. Every time this happens, nowadays people don't study the sutras or bhashyas. They don't like to read the original ancient sources of Indian philosophy. They want to read Indian philosophy in a nutshell, like we have the Will Durant's Story of Indian Philosophy for the Western philosophy. We don't have any such treatise in Sanskrit which gives a nutshell for the history of Indian philosophy, except the Sarva Darshana Sangraha or some other Sangraha Grantha. So then came the fourth phase, that is of the collative phase. When there were koshas and anukramanikas, we have Nyaya Kosha, we have Sankhya Kosha, Advaita Vedanta Kosha, like that. But unfortunately, there is no Vaisheshika Kosha till date, and I am preparing a Vaisheshika Kosha from all the original Sanskrit sources of Vaisheshika. So after creative, interpretative, transcreative and collative phase, the fifth phase can be said to be the evaluative phase or the samiksha, of which we talk in modern terminology as the research phase. So this is the period when Westerners started participating in the story of Indian philosophy. From 19th century onwards, Sanskrit texts started being published and edited by the Western scholars. We may agree or disagree with their viewpoints about Sanskrit, but we cannot deny the contributions they have made by publishing these texts, by bringing their translations. We have a study of Vaisheshika as early as 1918, published by Barend Feldegen, a Dutch scholar who not only brought out the texts of Prashastapada, Sridharacharya and Pranada with English translation and annotations. I think this was the first and the earliest evaluative text on Vaisheshika philosophy. So this is the research phase, the beginning of the research in the Vaisheshika study, 1918. Although the text with translation started publishing from 1850 onwards, the first text was Bhasha Paricheda of Vishwanatha, which was published with the translation of E. Rowan. Then we have 1913, 1917, and so many. I have all the lists prepared with me, which the chronological list as well as the list in alphabetical order. The next phase is historical or descriptive phase, where we have these critical and comparative accounts of the Vaisheshika system, like we have the book by Anantalal Thakura, Origin and Development of Vaisheshika System, and we have the books by, bibliography by Karl Potter, Encyclopedia of Indian Philosophy. The bibliography comes in the first volume, but the critical account comes in the second volume. And these days we have the phase, the last but not the least, that phase is the digital phase. But out of these, I will be focusing my presentation today only on the evaluative phase, that is the research phase, for which I have been asked to speak about. The Vaisheshika system, as we all know, it is propounded by Pranada and it talks about the metaphysical aspect of the universe. And the recent researches which have been done on Vaisheshika, they can also be divided into two types, textual and contextual. In the textual studies, we can also classify by Indian scholars and by foreign scholars. If I concentrate on the Indian scholars and the texts written in Sanskrit, so after a great and long gap, starting from Kanada's Sutras, then Prashastapada's Bhashya and commentaries thereupon, in the last century, 20th century itself, 5 Sanskrit commentaries have been written on Vaisheshika Sutra. This needs special mention because in the traditional system, Vaisheshika has been the most neglected branch of Indian philosophy. Nyaya, Sankhya, Vedanta, Yoga and Mimamsa, they have got quite a lot of significance due to different reasons. And Vaisheshika was not only neglected but also ridiculed at places. So it's very heartening to note that 5 Sanskrit commentaries have been written on this system in the last 100 years. And I'll just name these commentaries. The first is the Vaidika Vritti by Hariprasada Shastri, Rasayana Bhashyam by Veera Raghavacharya, Brahmamuni Bhashyam, Veda Bhaskara Bhashyam, which proclaims to be written by a person who is coming from a science background. So he brings in some inputs of chemistry in it. The last one is Sugama Vritti. So these are the 5 textual research. These are not actually researches, these are commentaries. And these are by Indian scholars. If I come to the researches, that is the comparative and critical studies about Vaisheshika, the Indian scholars, there have been a few of them, we all know most of them. Umesha Mishra, The Conception of Matter According to Nyaya Vaisheshika, then Sadananda Bhaduri, Studies in Vaisheshika, Metaphysics, and we have several histories of Indian philosophy, Radhakrishnan, Das Gupta, Baldev Upadhyay, etc. But there have been at least 15 Western scholars whom I would like to name. Actually, I have published Oxford bibliographies online. I have published a bibliography on Vaisheshika system. So all the details are available there. And these names I would just like to mention. The first name I have already mentioned, the name of Fedegan, who has written the text Vaisheshika system, which runs into 614 pages, published from Johannes Muller, Amsterdam in 1980. And I would like to quote him. He says, "This philosophy owes its origin to a purely theoretical attitude of mind and not to that craze for liberation which dominates nearly all forms of Indian thought. Therefore, it is not the wish to discriminate soul from that which is not soul, ego from non-ego, as conceived by later scholiasts, but it is the theoretical desire for a correct classification and system of definition which has been the starting point of Vaisheshika system," unquote. After Fedegan, I would like to mention the name of Erich Frau Wallner. Frau Wallner was an Austrian scholar. He published many books and articles on different aspects of Indian philosophy, but his two volumes on history of Indian philosophy. One volume is dedicated precisely to the Jaina and Vaisheshika materialism. The third name is of Masaki Hattori, the Japanese scholar who have published many articles on Vaisheshika, and he has also published studies of Vaisheshika Darshana on a particular sutra. The fourth and the most important name in the recent researches on Vaisheshika philosophy is of Wilhelm Halbfass, who has published extensively on Indian philosophy. He has also written and published a volume, India and Europe. And his book on Vaisheshika, on the concept of being, what there is That is the book which was a pioneering book in this field, and this book made Vaisheshika popular and relevant in the modern era. The next name is of Hajime Nakamura, again a Japanese scholar whom we all know because he has written also on Sanskrit. He has published the Vaisheshika Sutras with the collation of 3 commentaries in the Annals of Senko Research Institute for the Studies of Buddhism. Then we have Masanobu Nozawa, another Japanese scholar who taught at the Numazu College of Technology. He has published many articles on Vaisheshika, but his most significant contribution is his translation of the Chandrananda Vritti of Vaisheshika, which is untranslated till date. Not this, but at least 50 texts of Vaisheshika in Sanskrit are still untranslated. The next 7th name is of Dr. Victoria Lysenko from Russian Academy of Sciences in Moscow. She has published several papers and 3 books in Russian on the system of Vaisheshika. She has published in English as well as in Russian. The next is Albrecht Wetzler, a German scholar from the Institute in Hamburg, where I went in 2003 for collection of material on my project, Contribution of 20th Century German Scholars to Nyaya Vaisheshika. Another is Japanese scholar Megumi Honda, who was a professor in Doho University, Nagoya, Japan. He has published the system of Vaisheshika philosophy, and he has published the translation in Japanese of these sutras. Johannes Bronkhorst, we all know, he is a renowned philosopher from the University of Lausanne, Switzerland. He has published several articles and he organized a panel on the early Vaisheshika system in one of the World Sanskrit Conferences, and the proceedings of this have been published in Asiatische Studien, Early Vaisheshika, which has very, very important articles by many scholars across the world. Karin Preiseldanz is the professor of Indology at the University of Vienna and former head of Department of Indology and Department of South Asian, Tibetan and Buddhist Studies, University of Vienna. She has been publishing on Nyaya Sutra as well as on Vaisheshika. Recently she has switched her interest from Vaisheshika and Nyaya to Ayurveda, but her PhD is on one of the Nyaya Sutras, and she is currently preparing an annotated translation of Vaisheshika Sutra with Chandrananda's commentary. Harunaga Isaacson is currently the professor of Sanskrit at Faculty of Humanities in Hamburg Institute, Germany. And I would like to mention the name of Professor H.H. Ingalls was mentioned. He has published a book, Study for the Materials in Navya Nyaya. Harunaga Isaacson has published a book, Materials for the Study of Vaisheshika System. This is his PhD thesis from Leiden University, published in 1995. And from this thesis, I came to know of another Japanese scholar, Tanaka Norihiko, who has compiled 54 manuscripts on the Padartha Dharma Sangraha of Prashastapada, while he is president of the Bukkyo University in Japan. So Japanese scholars have contributed a lot to the Vaisheshika, like Kaiichi Miyamoto has published the Metaphysics and Epistemology of the Early Vaisheshika. I am only reading the names. With these 15 names of the foreign scholars who have contributed in this system of Vaisheshika, I think the lot has been done in the last 100 years as far as textual and contextual researches by Indian as well as foreign scholars are concerned. But the Veda says, Kritasya karyasya cheha sphatim samavaha. The same mantra which says, Shatahasta samahara, sahasrahasta sankira, kritasya karyasya cha sphatim samavah. So what has been krita, I have just hinted, but what is to be done? Kim karyam adhuna. For future prospects in the field of Vaisheshika studies, I would like to suggest that lots of manuscripts have to be explored, edited and digitized. This is the most essential part. I myself have got 2 or 3 of my students, I inspired them to go and search for manuscripts. 3 of them have been able to locate some manuscripts in Vaisheshika. They have done their PhD. I have also inspired them to work on the contribution of these foreign scholars. One of them has worked on Haltva's contribution. Another one has worked on contribution of Eric Frauwallner. The next important thing that needs to be done in this area is that the text, the original Sanskrit text, as I said, because in the course of preparation of my Vaisheshika Kosha, I have collected a list of some 100 texts, out of which 50-60% texts are yet to be translated. So this is very, very major aspect. The third is that dictionaries and encyclopedias like the Brihad Bharatiya Darshana Brihad Kosh by Bachulal Awasthi ji in Hindi, Encyclopedia of Indian Philosophy by Karl Potter, that is so voluminous that nowadays people want ready reckoners. Like the Sutra and Bhashya gave way to Prakarana Granthas. So we have to write new and concise encyclopedias. We published Bharatiya Darshana Sampratyaya Kosha as a sample for studying Indian philosophy from JNU. While I was there, we selected 20 terms for each system of Indian philosophy and we requested the respective scholars of that particular area to write explanatory notes conceptually clarifying the idea behind these. So that is a sample published from DK Print World, Bharatiya Darshana Sampratyaya Kosha. But we need many more like that. Then we have to make some comparative studies with scientific disciplines like the physics. We have a book called Vaisheshika Physics published from Hyderabad by one of the scholars. But we have many more such books. We need many more such books comparing the Vaisheshika idea of kinetic motion, the Vaisheshika idea of metallurgy, because according to them, Suvarnadi Dhatuna Taijasattva Siddhi. This is a debatable point. Chemistry, the Paka Prakriya, Pilu Paka and Pitara Paka, and now that we have the microwave ovens in our kitchen, we know that the Pilu Paka is more logical, which was propounded by the Vaisheshika. Then the acoustic science, the production of sound and how it is conveyed from the mouth of the speaker to the eardrum of the listener. Vichi Taranga Nyaya and Kadamba Mukula Nyaya. These are some of the, we have molecular medicine. So these areas need to be studied face to face with the theories of Vaisheshika. I think a lot has been done in our Indian philosophical systems in the form of Purva Paksha and Siddhanta Paksha, as was mentioned by my previous speaker. This was intradisciplinary. Now we need interdisciplinarity, and that too not only by Sanskrit scholars. We have to have a team in which 1 or 2 Sanskrit scholars, but 1 or 2 scientists of that particular discipline should be there so that they have a discussion, and after discussing they reach at certain point and newer Purva Pakshas are explored, then they are answered, and after that this story of Indian philosophy which needs to be rewritten. We now don't need to read those bulky 5-volume or 6 volumes. We need the conceptual history of Indian philosophy, which is like just now Routledge History of Indian Philosophy has come, and this contains 54 articles. These are issue based. So we need histories which are problem based, issue based, and which raise the intellectual quest in the students and the younger generations. I think we, the students of Indian philosophy, the respective disciplines in our philosophical tradition, we have to work harder and we have to inspire the younger generation in more ways than one. I am thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity, and I am thankful to all the scholars and students who listen to me with patience. Thanks one and all.